Yeah.
Okay, I'm recording.
It's time. Showtime, y'all. Showtime.
Sorry, I'm so really good.
Hello, everybody. How you all doing?
Hello.
All right, all right. Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
It's always good to walk in the room with all the smiling faces.
Yes.
We are 100 Years Enterprise, of course. And thank you all for having us today. Before we begin, who have heard of 100 Years? Oh, okay. We do not have a mixed room, but that's okay. So we here to present
I'm sorry. Okay.
who we are, what we about, but also it's for educational purposes. Because oftentimes we go through life, we get things, we receive things, but we don't get the education behind it. And that's why a lot of our kids have failed at, we believe, because we were those kids that we went through life, we had a journey, but we didn't have the discipline, the fortitude, but to get education with that. So we here to present who we are with our educational piece behind it. And again, I'm Fahim.
Hello, my name is Patrick Scott, of course. I'm a founder of HundredYears Enterprise, along with my esteemed colleague. I'm gonna talk more. I want y'all to get a bar where we got our pitch there, but I will say, the challenge of education is, what is education if it doesn't decipher into growing young people, right? Especially people of color, right? You could be in a race, and if the same race is always winning, something's wrong, right? Yeah, I can cheer for somebody 10 times in a row. But at some point, I want to see somebody else win. So, as far as the educational system itself, right, it's all about connecting and figuring out where that humble beginning is, what went wrong in that humble beginning, and how we can meet and make that connection to bring out the best growth, right? Because when you water a plant, you want to give it the best water. You don't give it no dirty water, even though there's no such thing as dirty water. But yeah, just real simple. I'll let Fahim take the floor and I'll jump in from time to time.
We're going together. And again, we are 100 Years Enterprise. So, of course, about 3 men who collectively did 100 years of incarceration. Through the lived experiences, I did 30 years and 10 months from age 17 to 48. I had to deal with a lot, learn a lot, but throughout that time, I had the opportunity to take a lot of self-help programs, self-development programs, to get the insight of who I was, to understand my causative factors and contributive factors that allowed me to go down the negative street life. Because sometimes as youth, we get into that form of denial and say, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I was one of those kids who was in denial. But once I understood who I was, I began to take full responsibility for all my actions. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to stand here today and go back into the institutions and to the community to convey who I am and why I made those bad choices and why I'm giving you a clear understanding of who I am today, so you, young man, can say, hey, I can change because they did.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that too. How do we meet those challenges? The challenge is meeting them where they at, right? They like chewing gum. If I see them chewing gum every day, I might just come in chewing gum just to make that connection, right? So, once I make that connection, then I'm able to sit down and figure out what it is and why we do what we do by sharing. That's the great thing about our history. We know where we come from. We know what we've been through, right? And we know what it takes to make it to this side in front of you guys. So that's the best information to give, whether it be bittersweet. It's a lesson in it. It's a lesson in a blessing, as we say, right? So, just going on with Fahim said, I'll take off from here. Who are we? Right? Who are we? The mission, to support youth on probation, aid returning citizens and their families and reentry, and guide youth towards better choices, break the cycle of violence and in underserved communities. The vision. You want to take over the vision, Fahim?
Yes. The vision was preceded with a thought, right? So we thought about what we needed to do. But once we started changing our thinking, and understood the form of arrested development, we began to see clearly what changes needed to happen in society and the community. So once we saw it and we locked in on it, we said, we're going back to our kids. We're going back to the community, what we helped destroy. And that's what we're doing today. Because many people are talking about what they're going to do, what they should do, but in all actuality, are you really going back to those environments what we helped mess up and destroy? Because I was a 17-year-old youth, but I began my criminal thinking at the age of 13 when I was going to Warren Crestwood Junior High School and got arrested and suspended for school for a strong armed robbery for a BMX bicycle. Right? At that time, I didn't think I was doing anything that bad. I knew it was wrong, of course. But once I walked back to school and they called me out of class and let me know I was gonna be suspended for 5 days, I said, oop, you messed up. But did it really click with me and resonate? No, it didn't, because I continued down that path. So once I went down that path, we're gonna see where it cost me. That right there, right? So we can go up a little bit, just a little bit, yes. So in 2012, 100 Years Enterprise, we began on this mission inside and changing. And here we go. Patrick, why are we credible mentors? What makes us credible mentors, Patrick?
Well, we became credible mentors because we believed in our criminal thinking, right? Once we believed in our criminal thinking, we knew we had to change that mindset, right? Because in order for us to carry out a thing, we have to believe it. No matter what you say, you can fake it, you can do it, but for you to act on it, you believe it. So we knew in our share by taking so many classes, right, and figuring out identity with denial, management, victim's impact, and all these things, we had to understand what remorse is, right? So remorse is part of forgiving. So you got to forgive yourself because you want to actually perpetuate that. So once we understood those elements, right, this is the part right here where we made us become credible before the punchline.
Before.
Right? We didn't even know we was. Somebody came to us, to be honest with you, and said, "Y'all credible mentors." We was like, "What is that?"
No, actually they called us credible messengers.
Yeah.
Credible messengers. We denied it. We said, no, we are.
Credible mentors. Yeah. But what I mean by the credible messenger, when it became a punchline from the East Coast, because it came from the East Coast, that message. I think, was it Washington D.C. or New York?
I think Washington fit some of these coasts. Yeah.
But it was basically the definition of it is basically saying that someone who has lived experience of a thing, right? How you could connect with a person who has a lived experience to be able to connect and convey, simply put. You know what I mean? So that's when credible message came into play. So we call ourselves credible mentors because we believe in mentoring the youth, right? And stirring them for making early death decisions like we once did.
Absolutely. And we have a great team of mentors, as you see. Dante, he isn't here. He's one of the founders of the organization. He did approximately 29 years. But all these men up here, of course, myself and Patrick, come from long-term incarceration. This picture was taken last summer, so add another 5 more to that team, along with 5 women. So now we have women who's part of the organization too, who are doing the work in the community. Well, is inside the they will be going inside Beyond the Youth Academy real soon, which is Martin Juvenile Hall. And again, every day we breathe it, we see it, we think, we committed to doing this work. Because anytime you lay off, take a day off, that's giving a kid an opportunity to say, hey, I needed him, but he didn't answer his phone. I don't want to be that one. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be someone that say, I called Fahim, but Fahim couldn't return my phone call. Or Fahim lied to me. Or he misled me. Because I know the impact of that, right? It's hard for these young men and young women to trust, especially when the trust has been broken inside the home. If the trust has been broken inside the home, where real love and support is supposed to be, just imagine how hard it is for these young men and young women to trust outside the home. That's even hard.
Can I touch on that for a minute?
Yes, sir.
We go inside the juvenile hall, right? And we got multiple programs in juvenile hall where we actually sit down and have one-on-ones and discuss about what is acclimation. You're going to be released. So what are you going to do, right? But what happens, the challenge happens is this. Once they're released, they might be going right back to the same environment that led them to incarceration from the first place. So no matter what I say, and it is impactful, I believe I'm impactful, but I know the elements that they're going back to is a bigger challenge, right? So reentry is key, right? To the environment that they live in, right? Because a message could be pure. But if you're going into a tainted environment, you can't take that pureness into a tainted environment, right? It's not gonna mix unless that kid is restored to who he wants to be and he really carried that out. He have a strong belief system.
Yes. Next slide. Thank you so much. What drives our work? Here it is here. This drives our work. This right here. So we had an opportunity to take the kids to the Warriors game. A lot of these kids are part of our reentry program, Warriors Community Success Pathway. And when you get these young men out of their environment and take them somewhere else, it could be 2 miles away, right? They're the happiest kids ever. So we afford ourselves many opportunities to pass on to these kids.
Modelo Suite, just want to add that. We was in the suite. Like
What's the Modelo Suite then?
The Modelo Suite is the highest. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Well, the Mothers and the Warriors is the highest. It's like,
Andy.
we was up there with the executives. Right, so all the kids, we had to break down to them where you at.
Yes.
You know, they didn't know how to really take it in. The ambiance of it was huge. You know, so you know, that's why I just mentioned that, because that was the Modelo Suite. All the food was free, everything. They treated us with great respect and love. They adored it. They was way high. And we was up there in the box seats with a bar and all, even though they didn't drink. But with a bar, everything. So I was most proud to be able to share that experience with them. You know, that's what keeps me up and grinding every day to make those days apparent for them.
Absolutely. And as you see this here, right? So in Richmond, you see what we know about Richmond, right? So Richmond, just like Pittsburgh, just like Antioch and all these other communities. But when you look at this crime rate, you say, okay, how do we really put a dent in this? Look at this. So when you got a 7.1% of 100,000 residents, I remember I looked up, Richmond was maybe at 160, so I give or take the 100,000. But when you have to go inside all those hard hit areas where there's guns, violence, you got predators out there, you got hyenas, being able to go into those communities and talk to them young men is a great challenge. But we open our arms up to all those challenges, because how can you not go to a place where you're from? Go to a place where go to a place where it's really hard to survive there. Let's keep it honest. Where it's hard to survive. We wake up and go to Greenwood Academy sometimes and witness kids coming to school hungry. So if a kid is coming to school hungry, 9 times out of 10, before he get to school, I'm gonna ask you all this question. What would he or she do? Anybody? You hungry? That's an honest question. I don't have food at home. What would anyone answer the question? What would you do? Exactly. Exactly. I'm gonna find something to eat. I'm hungry. It ain't animalistic, it's just human nature. I gotta eat. I'm not thinking about the consequences because I have to eat. I can't focus if I'm hungry. Whoever tried to study while they was hungry in here? Anybody? Anybody? All right. Was you able to focus? I gotta feed my appetite, no matter what the appetite may be.
And just to add, I always add, trust me. Just to add to what he's saying too, right? Then once you get that hunger met, right, you get addicted to that. If I show you a criminal way of doing the thing that's gonna stop you from being hungry, you're gonna take that over your education, right? Because that's something I'm giving you. Okay, a good sack. This is where the dope come in at. This is where the guns come in at. This is where all this stuff coming in at. Because right now I'm dealing with a situation that need to be aided for. So we break those components down, right? And then we share that, and then we try to get them to rescue them from that thought. But we got to give them something. We got to provide the resources to help them come out of that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said those components. And one of the components that we teach inside of juvenile hall is Criminal Gang Members Anonymous. And they have 3 components. And now Kasim Jackson, he runs our program inside. He's one of the mentors. And the 3 components is obsession, compulsion, progression. So if I got a burn desire to have something, I'm constantly obsessed about it to curb that craving. All right, next slide. What we do, here it is right here. So we go inside a juvenile hall 3 days a week. We mentor the youth. Yes, we try to impact it, put a dent into the recidivism. We go to Greenwood Academy, which is a continuation school in Richmond. We have a conflict mediating program there. Once a month, the last Wednesdays of the month, from 6:30 to approximately 8 o'clock in person and on Zoom, we have a safe space for men. So men and young men and adults can come to the program, right? So we sit there, we have good conversations about what we're really dealing with. And the floor is always open again. It's in person and on Zoom because we have so many challenges and things, what we're dealing with. And we've been running this program since 2020. Through the heart of COVID, just on Zoom, and then we brought it in person. So that's held at HundredYears Richmond.
Now we can talk about too, since we're here, we can talk about hosting a podcast for YouTube. We got a podcast that we do, right? And it's called Consequences of Street Life, 100 Years Enterprise, right? Consequences of Street Life. So we putting out positive content, reinforcing it through our actions. So now when we talk about what we do, not only do what we do, but we also talk about what we do. And we have guests on that either have similar backgrounds or those that's part of the community like yourselves. We don't have no problem having you on our show to talk about what you do to give back, because y'all all give it back to the community. We all tied together.
Absolutely.
So we make those connections so people be apparent when it comes to resources, when it comes to rehabilitation, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to therapy, anything that we can put out there and talk about in the conversation we put out there, so we can connect those connections.
Absolutely.
So that's key.
And we do a lot of community outreach too. So this January 17th, we'll be in Richmond giving back to the unhoused, sleeping bags, blankets, hygiene kits, whatever the unhoused need, hot food, whatever they need, we try to provide. In November, we fed over 100 and some people this last month and did the same thing, so we want to do it again. All right, next slide. Okay. We have many community partners that we work with. Recently, we just did a teen summit in San Francisco, UCSF. Zuckerberg, it was a great summit. It was a very different audience, right? It was very different, but it was good. It was good. So we got a partnership with Moms and Mad Action. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with them with Moms and Mad Action. Gun walks, advocacy talks in Sacramento. You see Patrick right there with all the moms. Yes. And then, I think he didn't see himself right here. Here we are again. It's the teen summer we did, and this is a gun violence. Gun violence talk we just had over the summer for the Wear Orange. So we do many things in the community. What's about giving back and change. It's all about, making a good change, for ourselves and for the people, because we can't change for ourselves. Ain't no use for us to go back out there and tell them, hey, you need to change, because the kids gonna say, well, what have you done lately? So that's it. All right, next slide. Thank you so much. Okay, if you wanna help us, you can donate, support, come to our podcast. We always taking volunteers. If you all want to put your boots on and put your jackets on and your hats, come on out here with us. That's good.
That's the Giants game right there, by the way. I like to identify things, good feeling things, right? Also too, right? As he said about volunteering, right? We also have we have our mentorship, we have onboarding process. Cause we got to do a background check. You got to be ready for this kind of work, right? And not only that, when you do this kind of work, right, we have to make sure that you are a right fit for our organization in regards to just having access to the kids, because the kids are a priority. And we don't want no bloopers or no glitches that can undermine where we're going, right? Because we know how the party rolls fast. We don't need to slow down, right? No glitches. So, if you want to be a part of it, it's good to come on board and listen up at HundredYears.biz. I'm quite sure we're gonna run into that. And then you can list, right? Put your resume in there and talk about what good things that you want to do or provide. You know what I mean? And we'll look into your resume, and me and Fahim will go over it. We'll have somebody look at you, do an interview, and then we'll do the follow-up interview.
And we're looking for board members too. We're looking for board members. So you understand the nonprofit work? Yes. And this is last year. Sometimes we got to get out the trunk of the car and go to the people. So I was last year. I got a lot of stuff and toys for tots, and they donate. And we take it to the people. And this is us. So this is a family day. So this is a family. So this is Dante, one of our founders. So he's talking to a young man at a family day where we have every year at the Vallejo waterfront. Food, games, jumpers, music, and it's all free. We don't charge for anything. We give it away. We give it away. And again, we want to thank you all for having us here. And any questions for us? Shoot away.
There is.
And thank you again. This is our team.